All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us on tonight's call with our very special guest, Uwe. And Uwe, you're gonna have to say your full name for us, better. But I know it's Uialani, correct?
Yeah, Uilani. And the
Uialani.
way
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
Is like and that's all. Yeah, so if you don't speak Hawaiian, that's the easiest way. Just think Yeah.
I love it. That's so cute. Is that what you tell your kids?
To everybody.
I love
That's
it.
what people would do to me when I was a little girl. They're like, your name is what? Like the song? I'm like, yeah, like the song.
Oh, I love it. Okay, guys, for those of you who do not think that you can do this, that this business, it is hard work. Now, Uwe has worked super hard. I wanted to share with you, she's got 5 kids. She actually was nursing her littlest, but came to Celebration, pumped for her baby, and really made it work. She has worked really hard. She's actually used the products for 3 years, but actually recently started the business in April. She was a wedding and hair and makeup artist, former finance coach, but she left that company, and she's going to explain more on that in a little bit. And she has a team of almost 400 people in 6 months and has made over 16 consultants. She is 1-star Crystal executive and has brought home some pretty amazing money from the pools and from her hard work. So you guys, I'm so excited for you to be on this call live to hear straight from Uwe what she has done to get there. And so Uwe, why don't you just share with us your just your journey a little bit with Isagenix and what made you say now yes to the business?
So I'm super nervous to come on these kind of calls because I'm like, we can talk story all day, but the recording part is where I'm like, my heart. But yeah, so I had the Isagenix products in my home 3 years prior because I had a personal trainer, and I've always known how to get my body back in shape after my children, but it wasn't easy. Like, I'm not one of those bounce back kind of moms. Like, I get up at 4:30, I do double workouts, I go on crazy restrictive diets because I was a dancer before I was a hair and makeup artist. But then I had hired a personal trainer, and my girlfriend had the same trainer, and I swear our meal plan said chicken and broccoli pretty much every day, but I noticed that she was looking way good super fast. And I was like, I thought you were eating the same thing as me. Like, we're kind of around the same size. Then she told me about Isagenix. And I was like, oh, I'll try your shakes. She's like, no, you cannot. Like, you have to do the whole thing. And I was like, oh, gosh, So anyway, she suckered me in. And I was like, fine, I'll do it all. But then I really, really loved it. And I never stopped ordering. But I had my first network marketing experience 14 years ago. And it was horrible. And I remember a day that I had kind of called out my upline because we were doing this presentation, and the way she was explaining the compensation plan, I had to stop her, and I was like, wait, that's not what you told me. She's like, how can everybody make money every month, and how can people get paid the same? And I was like, I don't know, that's what you told me, And so I stopped, and I remember crying. I was like, I will never do these businesses, they're horrible, and blah blah blah. And so I got away from that, and hair and makeup was my thing for about 8 years. And that was my first business. I started from scratch and, done well. And then I started coaching finances. So it helped our family. And in Hawaii, it's a big company. And I was one of their, I don't know, what do you call master trainers or whatever. So money has always been a passion of mine because it's expensive to live in Hawaii. It's probably very comparable to California, but you live simply and I know how to get people out of debt, basically. And then I met Nat, and after I had my 5th child, I actually got the shingles because I was they're like, oh, you're so stressed. I'm not stressed. Now I'm stressed that I shouldn't be stressed. But then I had to kind of take a step back, and I was like, you know what? I have way too much on my plate. And I want to figure out a way that I can maybe not switch so many hats between doing hair and makeup, between 5 kids, between teaching finance classes. How do I simplify my life a little bit more? So then when I met Natalie, which is my sponsor, Meredith's good friend, she's like, well, you have Isagenix in your home. Why don't you do the business? And then, of course, I told her my story, why I don't do those things. But because she has this beautiful accent, I was like, fine, I'll listen. So I swear, if she didn't have the accent, I probably wouldn't be here. That's basically it. But then she shared it with me, and I looked over at my husband because he was listening in on a Zoom like that. And we're like, okay, we're in. We don't know what it all means, but we're used to making money. But as soon as we're done working, the money stops. And so like, how much longer can we gig? Like, how much longer? And like, if anything was to happen, like 9/11, knock on wood, and the tourism doesn't come, I don't have work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can teach a finance class, and once that's done, that's done. Like, this is consumable food. And so we really got like the why this business was so powerful. And I just was like, I'm all in. Like, if I'm going to do something, I'm not going to kind of test the waters. I'm going to be like, if I'm going to come out on my social media and I'm going to tell my friends I'm going to do Isagenix, like, I'm going to do Isagenix. So it's been a crazy experience, and I'm blown away. And then after, of course, celebration, why everybody should go to events and why everybody should just make it happen, that just changed everything for me. And I came back to Hawaii, and like, our team just exploded, because I was like, you guys don't know what you're missing. Like, stop playing around and get your butts in this business. So yeah, that's just
well, something that's interesting about you is like, everyone knows about you. Like, people are like, what's happening with Natalie's team? Why is Natalie's team like exploding? What's going on? What's going on? It's you and your team that's like going crazy. So, I mean, you're known now, like, in the Isagenix world. So that's kind of what I want to ask you, because you got this fire. What, like, how are you casting vision? How are you getting these people who are in it for the business, right, who are really excited? You can get into this part later, but you guys, I just want you to know, she and Natalie went to Oahu. They live in Maui. So Oahu, and they talked and had an amazing event, which we can talk about later. But I just want, like, they're going to team and sharing this and casting the vision. So how do you cast vision to people to enroll them into the business?
That's kind of hard. I think it's different for every person, but I just basically start with my story, because I think everybody, for the most part, I think by 2019, your mom has done a network marketing business, your grandma has done a network, somebody's had some kind of experience, and typically it's not well. So when I approach people in the beginning, like, I just be like, hey girl, can I call you? I never have business conversations on the phone, on social media. Like, I'm not typing, hey, join my business. Like, I want them to hear my voice, I want them to see me, and I just share, you know me, and finances is like my jam, right? Like, helping people. I said, but I really want to show you something that I think will just blow your mind. And they're like, oh no, I'm good. But when I have to share this with you, because I've sat with like preschool teachers up through doctors and lawyers and done their personal finances, when people say they're good, that should be like the biggest, like they're not good. I'm telling you. So use that. That's a little, write that down. I promise. Like, when people say, oh no, we're good, that's a lie. So when I would hear that, like, oh no, we're good, I would just kind of push through. I'm like, no, you don't know what you're saying no to. Like, I wouldn't just take that no. Like, you don't know what you're saying no to. Give me 15 minutes. And then for real, if it's not for you, I will back up. I will take you off my list. You're always going to be on my friend list. But I would feel so bad if I'm doing this and you're watching me, and it would suck. Like, you're going to watch me do really well in this, and I want you to do this alongside me, because we're girls, or like, we're friends, or, you know what I mean? Like, I look up to you or whatever. So.
Okay, well, so what about, and then maybe I correct me if I'm wrong. So yes, your posture and confidence, that's what Allison's saying. It's very high. And you and Natalie probably casted a great vision for you too. That's why you're like, no, this is where I'm going. I know where I'm going. You knew you got to get to executive. And you wanted to bring people along with you. Now, when you enrolled,
I wanted to be an executive. Honestly, every week she would just give me a goal. Okay, I'm like, okay, what am I doing this week? What am I doing this week? Because it wasn't so much about the bonuses. It's not so much that. Like, I really just came in for the long-term part. Like, and that is honestly, when you say like the girls that we've been rolling, like, we don't really care, because we've made a lot of money in our other company, but we've left all of that behind because of the long-term vision. Like, which is kind of scary, and we had to like tell our husbands, like, listen up, things are gonna be a little tight while we build this, but it's so much worth it to know that you're gonna continually build that residual income. So that Natalie's casting a vision was just more me being like, okay, what are we doing this week? What are we doing this week? I'll just do it. And that became my unofficial hashtag of like, if she's successful, why am I going to try to just lollygag and kind of figure out my own thing? Like, just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do, and I'll do it. Even if I didn't like it, even if I was like, ew, I don't want to say that on social media, or like, oh, but I still did it. And I think that I'm learning that duplication is is everything.
Well, yeah, and you guys would sit in her house or your house, whatever, and just message people. So like you guys, you were actually calling, you were actually messaging, right?
Right.
Yeah, you were like doing the action, not just getting on team calls, not just posting on Facebook and hoping something happened. I mean, how many enrollments, I don't know if you can even do this, but like how many enrollments have you gotten from just Facebook or Instagram versus like calling them and saying, we've got to do like,
Yeah,
you know.
probably way more just in the calling and then seeing somebody in person for sure.
Yeah. And do you feel like, have you heard this term that you're like ignorance on fire?
Yeah.
It's
on fire, totally.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even know what all this 1-star, 2-star was. No, I'm on a call. Thank you.
Hi, baby.
Okay.
You're fine. Okay, why don't you kind of bring us into that? But the people that you're enrolling, though, a lot of them, because they're in finances, like they understand money, and they left that business specifically for this one because of the residual income.
Yeah. So what had happened was we started doing Isagenix and just very open and transparent. Like we want to be full-time families, and I had talked, they were like the first people I had called when I first started 5 months ago, but they're like, no, we're CrossFitters and we count our macros and that's not real food and blah, blah. I was like, I don't care. Like find something that you can do that's 100 BV that you can just do this business. But they would be like, we'll support you, like go you. And I was like, hey, fine. And then when I came back to, it was in the middle of celebration when I was posting all of the inspirational quotes and telling about all the stories. And then I finally was like, you really should just give this a try for 30 days, and then I think why we left was we kind of were getting a little pushback. That's kind of what kind of started this whole thing was like, people in our company, it's not a multi-level marketing company. It's just strictly coaching. But I think on the business side, it is kind of structured like a multi-level. So other people do a lot of other things. But when the top girls started coming out in the 2 weeks, we all kind of got the axe. Like they kind of pushed us against the wall. And they're like, well, here you are making, $10,000. And they thought that we're making all this money, that how they would never walk away. They would never walk away from this if we keep, basically harassing the heck out of us, But in given that choice, it was like, no, you're not going to tell us that we're not going to be successful. That's what the CEO told me on the phone. He says, the only reason why you're having success in Isagenix is because of me. The only reason you're having success is because, you're like, you'll never have success outside of 101. That's the company. Anyways, you'll never have success outside of this. And it was just that kind of moment where we just kind of stood up, like, don't you tell women that we cannot do nothing. And so it was kind of like an empowerment moment, but it was because of Isagenix, the vision that was casted for us about long-term residual income, because we can teach and we can, work, but once we stop working, we stop earning. And just imagine that we can infuse cash flow into all of our families, because we can teach people how to get out of debt. We can teach people how to build credit. But if they don't have the cash flow to do it, you can't do anything. You're stuck,
Yeah, and eating your overhead. And it just like makes so much sense. So when you're saying that, are people's like light bulbs going off? Like,
yeah.
So in that company that you were with, like how many people have now joined you?
Oh man, it was to the point where they were trying to fire everybody, and there was no policy. There was no policy that says you can't. It was just like, well, this is my company, I can do whatever I want. It was like, fine. But it got so big. I want to say it was at least like 75 leaders, like top dog leaders were joining us, and it was just kind of everywhere that they're like, oh, never mind, you guys can stay and do whatever. But not me or Soraya or Kamaidi. Yeah, we were just like, bye.
Oh my gosh, that is insanity, because you're not giving people, here's like what, and we hear it all the time, they're going to give you enough money to keep you there stuck, not comfortable, but like enough where you're happy where you can't leave. Yeah. But like if you really understood residual income, you would walk through a brick wall to get it. So
quote so much because that's the truth. And we cried together as girls, but it only fueled the fire. Like they thought they were gonna just kind of hold us back, but it was like, we see the vision in this and what it can do for our families long term. And so we told all of our, our little consultant babies, we're like, you think we're defeated, but it only shows you should be grateful for the leadership that you have here in Isagenix. And I think we got a call from Kayla Kraft. She did a special call with us, and that we were dying for leadership like that. We were like craving systems in Isagenix, like the systems Isagenix has. We're craving the tools. And I tell my team that, like, if this is your first company ever, know that you are so blessed. Like, they're so generous. They give you everything you could possibly need. And all you gotta do is plug into the systems, like the scripts, the tools, the books, like the trainers. Like, it's just that you have everything you need. And the only way you're gonna stop yourself is when you get into your own head. Like, how can the same product, some people be making millions and then some people be going broke? It has everything to do about who you're being, not necessarily what you're selling.
Totally. I want to know, because you are creating, and Natalie said, like, she's creating consultants with ease. So do you have any specific tips for anyone? Maybe there's some people on here who aren't even consultant yet, or who are really working on getting to executive. What kind of tips can you give them to help build consultants with ease?
As soon as they get their box, make sure you set up that meeting with them right away, before they can get into their head, before their friend or their boyfriend or whatever can kind of dog them for, what are you doing now? Because everybody gets that, has that in their life. We have this and I'll post it here, or I'll send it to you. It's kind of our coming out the gate post, where we just talk about their most vulnerable, like, secret that they're holding back. Like, I had this one girl, she's pretty heavy size, and she's like, girl, I've been watching you and I really want to do this. And I said, okay, well, what's your most vulnerable secret? And she told me that I work for the airlines, but I'm not able to fly. I can't use my benefits because I don't know if I can fit in this seat. I was like, okay, well, you're gonna share that. And that just brought, like, support, and that brought eyes on her. And she shared that. She's like, do you know what it's like to work for an airline? It was kind of asking questions like, do you know what it's like to have these amazing travel benefits, to want to travel the world and not know? And, like, that was just kind of her putting out there. And so what that did was it brought a lot of support, but it also was like, who wants to do this alongside me? And so that's where we just kind of grabbed the accountability partners. I think people got to stop thinking, oh, when I make the money or when I get the body, then I'll be worthy of showing people the business. It really is just grab your accountability partners, and that has been converting a lot easier than waiting for progress or if you like it or whatever, so just grabbing your two people right away that want to support you and do it alongside you. And she hit consultant within her first week and a half, and on the big pack too. Like, I was so, like, blown away. Like, she got them to order all the things.
Yeah. Wow, that is amazing. And, like, it's so funny how you can just get in your head. And I just listened to a podcast and he was like, well, why? And we do this all the time. We always invite people to restaurants. I'm never going to go alone, even though I've never been there. Like, I'm going to grab some buddies. Let's go try this place out. Why do we make this any different? Why do we make it weird? And I think the biggest thing about you and your girls is you have a massive purpose and you are hungry. You are so hungry. You guys are on a mission. And I think what's really cool, and me on an outsider looking in, I'm like, I want to be a part of that. Like, you girls, you have this community and you have this, like, sisterhood. So maybe you can kind of, like, bring us into, like, how you're building a community and what you'd recommend for other people and how they can build community.
I'll just talk to, like, our first challenge, where we just want to feel at our best. Play to everybody's strengths. So some people are really creative with graphics. We want to give everybody a job. Like, it's kind of like church. Like, I feel like people get involved in church when they have something to do. Otherwise, they just sit in the back and kind of, like, leave after. But if you're like, oh, can you watch the kids? Can you make the bread? Or can you whatever, like it gives people a sense of belonging. So giving people something to do, as well as making sure you show up on their posts, like sincerely, not just like, yes, queen, like all day long, but like, wow, that was really cool. Ask them a question, like there's girls on our whatever down line that I've never met, but I feel like I can't wait in a couple of weeks when we have our next event to be like, oh my gosh, you're my best friend now. Just asking them questions like, how, not only just how's your product, but like, oh, how old are your kids? Just kind of popping into your team, because that brings community, making people know that you see them. Spending 20 minutes on social media just to give value to people, to pour into them, I think is what is really big in our team, and why everybody feels really supported, because we all show up for one another, especially when we, after that vulnerable post, that we ask everybody to go in for, like, it kind of is like, we got you, we see you.
Yeah. Wow, that's massive. And you guys do, I really like it, you do this, like, I feel like it's called round robin or whatever, where you tag a bunch of people in your stories.
Yeah, in our stories. And that's kind of how I prospected some girls too. Like if I saw them working out, I was like, oh, tag me, like I'll be your accountability partner. And it was like, because I already knew there was a couple of people, I was like, yeah, I don't know what my angle is going to be. But when I would see them working out or getting up earlier, trying to make one healthy choice, and then I would tag them when I was trying to do the same thing. Like, oh, I'm going to work out, I'm going to tag you. And then it just kind of became organically. And then they started watching what I was doing. Oh, what are you guys doing? So just looking for people, bringing community before you go for the, come check out my product. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I remember when I first moved to San Diego, Christina could attest for this. I would always post on Facebook and say, who wants to come to the YMCA 10 a.m. sweat and sculpt? And then I would tag like every friend I ever met in San Diego,
yeah,
and hope that someone would meet me there.
I love it.
And then people met me there, and then I started getting to know them and enrolling them, but it took a while. I love that. And you guys, and it may be because you kind of were brought up in it, but you do launch parties. Like you guys have community. Oh my gosh, she told me about your, like, you guys went to karaoke. Okay, but that's a totally different story. But like how you do like community things where it's a launch party. Right away, people like have launch parties, like you're already getting people together, like families are in rooms together, it's packed. How do you get that to happen? How do you get your new person to say, yeah, I'm going to have a launch party?
I think I make it one of those non-negotiables. I just tell them, like, I don't know what you're going to do behind the computer. It's going to take way longer versus just grabbing your friends and all your aunties and just be like, you got to just come and support me. Like if you've been showing up for your friends and family to their kids' birthday parties or like their sports or blah, 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 it's time to cash in and be like, you got to just come and see what this is about. No pressure. Like, I kind of guilt people sometimes. That's so bad. But I just say, oh, that'd be so sad. Imagine if I have my event and nobody comes. Like, can you just come and like sit down? But of course I know that they're going to be like, when they watch the compensation plan, especially, So that's how I ask my family to kind of come in at first. I will share this from Soraya. She was sharing on our call last week how she contacted her family right away. And she's like, look, I'm not going to be the only one that's standing confidently in our Christmas photo this year. Like, I want not to be the only one that feels good in their skin. So, like, you guys need to join me, and we're all going to support each other, and we're all going to, like, get this for free. And that was just, like, the way. And her whole family is working out together. Like, sometimes you just got to go. I think it's weird when we make it weird and we don't want to say what's really on our heart. People just are more susceptible to me when I try to not think what the right thing to say is and just be like, dude, like for real, let's just push that on the side and let's just talk what I'm feeling and what you're thinking and whatever.
I mean, I think that's so honest. And I can relate only with my mother. My mother, my best friend, I was like, you have to do this with my mother. I'm like, you're getting really old. and it's not looking good. And I'm like, you need to do this. And then my best friend, like I forced her into it. So I think there's certain people in your life you can like go for the ask and go and be really honest. And we've had like brides have their entire, wedding party do it. They all wanted to lose weight together. It's so smart.
Yeah.
It's all about accountability. It's all about being seen, being known, being heard, and being pushed out of your comfort zone. Okay. I know people want to know this because let's be honest, and I love that you keep it real. You're a mother of 5. I mean, mom guilt probably happens. Like right now, did you just give them candy and say, shh? Like, what'd you do? Like, how do you do it with 5 kids? How'd you build this? Honestly, like you went to executive, 16 consultants, so fast. Tell us like what you did with 5 kids.
So I think one of my tricks is like, I simplify my life. Like you look around my house and I try to get rid of clutter because clutter like it just drains me. That's just my own personal thing. I don't judge if you have lots of stuff in your house, but for me, I can't with lots of stuff. I also am not afraid to ask for help. Like I will ask my mom-in-law, I will ask, somebody and be like, I have this event. Will you help me out with my kids? Like I will figure it out, because we think that we have to do everything. You think that you have to do everything as a mom, but you don't. Like you're not a product of one person. You're a product of all the people in your life, and so you have a community, and it's good. I love this business because I literally am like always like Chichi, boob on my left and phone in my right, and that's how I'm like messaging. That's when I do my social media time. And then 3x3x3. Mary's, I'm on a call. Yeah, and they bug me, but whatever. Like,
yeah.
There's the 3x3x3 every day, no matter what time. I would love to say that my life is perfectly blocked out, but like when I'm nursing a baby, that does not even happen. It just, you get it in when you get it in. But workouts, I want to say, is probably the biggest catalyst for finding the courage to do the business. Because if I'm not in that right headspace, and if you don't have Beyonce's Homecoming album on your phone, it needs to be there, because she's just like, freedom, and that gets me pumped. Like you need a pop song in order to like start messaging people. But that was it. Like that wasn't anything crazy. It was just do it, Mary's. Like I don't know.
I love it. And your daughter was doing push-ups with you, because didn't she like sneak candy or something?
Yeah.
And this was a while ago.
She's a rascal. She just does whatever she wants, that girl.
I just love it because they're seeing, I just think, a lot of times mothers, we can have mom guilt, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, I told my kids today, I'm like, dude, I'm picking you up from school. I didn't have that. Like, you're so lucky, because I told them, hey, I have an 8:00 call tonight. You should be in bed. Like, there's no reason we're arguing here. And so they're like, but mom, and listen, it's one night. It is one night. And I pick you up from school every day. This is what the life that I'm trying to give you. Like, and so that they can see that, because they may not know it. So with your kids. I
enroll my family for sure. Like I had to sit down with them after we came back from celebration. I was like, look, I was like, I know we want everything to be like this, but when I'm going, it's because I'm working and I'm building this for us. And we have this Hawaiian saying, it's like kokua aku, kokua mai. Like you help me, I help you. And when I just quit all that mom guilt. Like there doesn't have to be a perfect structure of anything, like that's one thing. When people ask me, how do you have so many kids? I'm like, just let go of your expectations, mostly of yourself, because that's it. Like once you can get rid of what it's supposed to look like and how you're supposed to raise them, they just do whatever they want, and you're just trying to like keep it together. That's the secret.
Oh my gosh, I freaking love that. That's so good. I remember someone was like, how are you doing it with, because my daughter was an infant, 9 months old when I started. My son was 3. And I felt so good when Kayla did this too. We were on a Zoom and she did this too. I was like, oh, it's not just me. Like I was in the bathroom on the phone and they're banging on the door. And I'm like, I just fed them. They have a show on. Like, I don't understand. And Kayla, we were on a call with Kayla and I'm like, oh, they bang on her door too. They scream and cry. Okay. Like, but sometimes you have to build your business because you're home with babies or whatever it may be. maybe you're building this business for those of you on while you're working your job. And so it's going to be those bathroom breaks, those coffee, smoke break things, whatever. You're going to go out and message people, get on calls. I wanted to ask you, is there something specific that you're like, okay, this is the thing that we love? And it may be three-way calls. Like three-way calls are your jam and your team loves doing them. Maybe it's three-way Zooms. Maybe it's, I don't know, what is it that you're finding really is working for your girls, especially when, maybe it's launch parties, but maybe when you're like trying to not convince them to get them to say yes.
Is that for business or is that for products?
For both. Like if it's different, let me know, but for both.
I want to say 95% of the time I post about business or like I'm having business conversations. So I will say that, you remember at Celebration, there was that one lady, I don't remember her name, but she talked about, wouldn't you agree that a company that has done $7 billion in sales, I memorized that. And that is my introduction to the compensation plan video. So I spent 6 minutes having that conversation and showing them how 10 that shares with 10. So everyone knows, you share that. Okay, so like 10 that shares with 10 is 100. And now you go get your customers of 10. And now you have 1,000 people on 100 BV. You have $100,000 business volume in your organization. I just showed you how to make $6,000. Are you really wanting to know? I do this in like residual income. Yeah. Okay, watch this video. And then that's kind of like teaching my people to just be able to spit that at any time, whether they're with their family or friends or on their phone, like they can just, share that part. And then the you share, they share. Everybody should know that. Like, that's how I get people to watch the videos is knowing that. Drawing that part out. And then as far as the products go, I don't know. I'm still figuring that out, honestly. Like, I don't know. I post about products maybe once or twice a week. Like, we call it Mom Juice. If you guys want to use that, we call it the Mom Juice movement, the Ionics, because one of our girls is like a postpartum doula, and she was actually making a lot of her girls go and get all these different kind of herbs to kind of heal their bodies, emotionally, physically, whatever. And so we call it the Mom Juice movement. And then people have made like teacher juice and dad juice and all that stuff. But we talk about, every day this is what we do. But yeah, join the hashtag mom movement, Mom Juice movement. And somebody said, do you give out samples? No, I don't give out samples. I would just tell them to come and have a sip and sample. I'll be like, just come to my house. Or if I don't live by them, I just say the company does 30-day money back guarantee. So then that can just be your sample.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the Mom Juice, like that. And people are like, wait, do I need that? What do you mean? You've got 5 kids, whatever you've got, I need, like, give it to me. And I always say that, hey, the whole system's a sample.
Yeah, and it would be good if you guys did that too, because then it'll only trend for everybody. But that's gotten a lot of people to like take a look at the product. So yeah, was the.
I love it. You guys are so good. I mean, you guys are great at branding and everything. And I love that I guess they were your girls, right, in Oahu, and they had a photographer and they had yoga, and you guys had a beautiful spread. What the heck?
Yeah, because they're very detail oriented, those girls. Like, I'm not like that. But just wait for the next event on October 12th. They went and they contacted all the former NFL contacts that they had and former like collegiate players, and they asked all these influencers to come. So they're taking them out to dinner and they're talking to them about the event, and they want them to kind of show up as like, I don't know, ambassadors or whatever. And so everybody's going to wear all black attire. They're doing a functional fitness trainer thing, and then they'll have their samples and whatever. So whatever you can do to just make it, interesting for people, like, ooh, I want to be there. And then they just start promoting.
So good. Like, I don't know. You went so quickly, and you did play. So you went to director, you played in the director pools. Yeah. And then did you play did you play in both at the same time? I don't know if you.
No, I just played in the director pools. Nat told me, don't hit executives, stay in here, and then
yes.
Go. So like I said, we're just week by week, like, what's my goal?
Yes, I love that. So just little bite-sized pieces. And are you doing that for your girls too? Just little bite-size?
Yep. But the week that I hit executive, I had only been cycling 3 times prior to that, because we only do for majority on 100 BV. Like, I mean, I don't know what everybody's team does. But it was that week where I had that big clearing in my life. And it was like when somebody pushed me against the wall and told me you'll never have success out of that. Like, I ran so freaking hard. Like, my heart was, I felt like I was working out when I was messaging people. So you just gotta find that motivation, and then it's in all of us. Like, we just kind of lollygag, I think, if I don't know, with our goals a little bit sometimes. Like, we're all fired up and then we lose motivation and we're all fired up. But I think what's so cool about Isagenix is, like, even when you don't feel it and you just keep putting in the work, it compounds. Like, 1 enrollment turns into 4 more people, and 4 more people turns into, you know what I'm saying? Like, so if you're just consistent, and that's what I heard the most from all of you, it's like, don't quit, don't quit. Marquis like, don't quit. I was like, okay, girl, I'm not.
I love that. So what's your goal for, so New Year's kickoff? Do you have like an amount of people you want to get there? Do you have like girls that you're saying, you know, we've got to get there? I don't know. What is your goal to get to the event?
I want to bring 20 people, and it's going to be huge because we got to pay for flights from Hawaii. But that's basically what I said when we went around in Kayla's room. I don't know, and she was asking everybody their goals, and everybody's like, I want to hit 1 star this. I didn't even know what that meant. So all I said was, I want 20 people to come and see what this is, because I felt like that will, you know, move your business more forward than probably anything else.
Yeah, that's critical, because you gained the belief in yourself, you gained the belief in the company. Like, it gave you everything. Did the work for you. And hopefully those 20, I don't know if they're going to be brand new people, but hopefully those 20 are business builders and they're going to bring 20 a piece. Yeah. That would be amazing. Are you, I don't want to keep you going because I know you got kiddos to get to, but really quickly wanted to know, are you, because I mean, having Natalie around and everything, like, our network marketing company is by far the best one in the world, best compensation plan. Are you going after other network marketers in different companies?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Tell me how.
Yes. Okay. I love that question. I love it. Okay. So I don't know if you guys know of like It Works. I'm sorry if you've been a part of that. But like, when we had the It Works train come through to Maui, like, it hit hard. And I was like, It Works. I had to like get off of social media. It was annoying, you know, because I bought the stuff and I was like, oh, I'm going to try it. And it obviously did not work. But these girls ran super hard. And I'm like telling my team, go and talk to them, because they have no shame. Like, they have no shame. They just go and they plug in and they duplicate like crazy. Like, give them a reason to believe. And so we did talk to a couple of It Works girls. I felt like, not that I want them to need me, but they signed up and they just jump in, and they're leaders. Like, they just go. Like, I don't ever need to pep talk them. I try to talk to them like, hey, can we meet? Or whatever. They're like, oh, I'm busy, blah, blah, blah. But they're doing all the things. They're getting all the enrollments. Like, so I'm saying, like, go get the It Works people, because I don't know what they did. But yeah, okay, go do that. Oils are huge in our company. And we had one of the top Young Living earners in their company join our team last week, because she saw the community that we were building. And so, like, use each other, because I think that's one thing a lot of companies are lacking, is like that culture and that community. The products can be good, but talk about that, like, oh, dang, you guys don't get paid, you know, the same, or, oh, it's only you making money. And speaking into that often, people are listening to that. Like, you think nobody's paying attention or not liking your post, but then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I want to join. I'm like, what? I didn't even know you were following us. Like, so just keep talking about how our network marketing business is different, because they're watching.
Yes. And it's like, it's important, like, on stories, or I think I did an IGTV. I don't remember what I did, but I just said, like, I want you to take notes. This is for the network marketers out there. If your BV wipes every month or every week, if you don't get paid on Infinitely Deep, If you have a quota that you have to meet in order to get paid, if you know, like just going through the list, I think it's like 11 things. If your product isn't consumable, then we have a problem. If one of those things is out of alignment, we've got a problem. Let's have a chat. And I had a lot of people message me. And so, and it was crazy because it was Rodin & Fields and it was Beauty Counter were the main ones. And Monet.
The shampoo. Yeah.
Yes. They, and all of them. And I was like, okay, so how many levels do you get paid? Okay, 5. Or, you know, okay, let's just have a chat. I just want you to draw your comp plan.
Right.
The number one thing they couldn't do was draw their comp plan. Like, I can't even. So it's important, like even just have I'm bringing up the conversation. You can do what you want. If you love that company, please do it. Like I have a networks girl who still doesn't, I showed her the money and everything. She couldn't show me her comp plan and stayed. Great. As long as you know what you're saying no to, I'm okay with it. You know?
I asked that to, I forget who I asked that to, but I was just like, people brand themselves as their product, and that's the biggest reason why they don't want to walk away. So just sharing with them that, you know, in Isagenix, we have the systems, we'll teach you how to like make a pivot without making people feel like you're a flake, you know, just holding their hand through that process of like, you're not the oil mama 1, 2, 3 or whatever, like that's not who you are. It's like, make people like show all the good things about who you are as a person, and that's what people want to join. They're not joining you just for like your shake, you know, you're not just a shake pusher.
Right. So Cassandra just said, I keep getting no's because they don't want to leave their people. What would you say?
Talked to this girl from it works, and she don't want to leave my team, and I was like, okay, well, is your team getting paid though? Like, is your team getting their financial goals met? And if then they will say like, no, not really. I say, well, wouldn't it be better if you offered them something like you upgrade your nutrition? You upgrade your phone, but why wouldn't you upgrade your business? Like upgrade your finances, upgrade your nutrition, you know? So telling them that their team would be so much more blessed in this business, and you guys would all win together. So, you know, just having a heart-to-heart conversation of like, just imagine that you guys all got paid together. Imagine that it wasn't just you and then them and then them and then them, little less, and then somebody down the line, not even at all. You know, like that for me was like a big conversation for them, that you can just kind of paint that picture. I don't know specifically what that comp plan is, but just kind of learn a little bit about it and then, you know, kind of show the comparison, just like Meredith said.
Yeah. And Jessica Rigner talks about it too. She came from the DSA. Like she knows all of everyone gets paid, and that's why she chose Isagenix and compliance and everything. But one of Jessica Wiltshire's girls, she was with Rodin & Fields for 3 years. And that was actually a conversation that she'd had. And she was like, I cannot leave my best friend. And I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I feel you. I get you. And then she's like, I'm like, okay, why are you staying? And she's like, it's how they paint the picture. And it's like the community. And I said, okay, well, what if, cause you're telling me you want X, Y, and Z in your life. What if you could have that in your life and help, like, just like you said, with your help your friends do the same. Do you think that your downline there would respect you enough and come join you? And it was a rough, you know, of course that's difficult.
I'm still working on one of my besties too. She's a Rodin & Fields girl, and she was one of my first 5 people that I called. And she met the Coovers. She planned their wedding, like in Maui. She's like, oh yeah, I know them. And I did their wedding and whatever. Like she was their coordinator. She's like, they're lovely people and blah, 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 blah. And I know your guys' Isagenix products are the best. So she orders the shakes, which she doesn't post about. She knows the compensation plan is the best. But she told me that Rodin & Fields just has an amazing culture of strong women. And so I said, okay, sis, I respect you. I circle back again. She's like, I love you for circling back, but I'm still not leaving. Okay, fine. But what I did was I was like, we are going to show her. We're going to build that culture. I'm going to hashtag Isagenix culture, whatever we're going to do, because I'm not checking her off the list. So keep going. Even if people are saying, no, they don't want to leave their people, fine. Whatever they're not wanting to leave, build that.
Well, and you, honestly, I'm not kidding, you guys, go follow her, please, because
Oh, my social media sucks. I'm sorry. I'm not.
oh, no, it does not. No, it does not. You seriously make me want to be a part of your culture. Like, I'm like, take me. What about me? Can I be included? Like, am I allowed? So you're doing a really good job of it. And so I would say, just say, keep doing exactly what you're doing. You are going, like, you are going to be on stage. Like, it's happening. And so I see it. I know it. And I just want to say thank you so much for giving us your time while your kiddos are, doing stuff. And so thank them for us, and just thank you for your time, you guys. Go to her wall tonight. I'm not on social media, but I'll text you. And I want you to give her all the love. I want you to say specific things. I want you to say, hey, thank you so much for X, Y, and Z. Like, you are an incredible woman. I want you to give her all the love on her Facebook wall. And I'm actually going to start recording really quick.